The art community on TikTok has had moments of hate, negativity, and bullying, which has made many artists on the internet believe it sucks to be an artist on TikTok.
The second somebody comes on this app with an art style that isn't perfect and pristine and proportional, you guys just crucify them. Do you guys know how many people just gave up on art entirely because of how toxic y'all are? Do you know how many beginner artists never pick up a fucking pencil because of how toxic y'all are?
Today we're going to look at the problems that have slowly caused it to become increasingly toxic for new artists joining the platform, starting from the first most common problem: unwarranted fixing art disguised as constructive criticism. Fixing art, which is unanimously hated on every art community on the internet, has found its way into the TikTok art community, with artists calling out other artists for making drawings they don't like and then proceeding to fix the person's drawing by changing the features and other parts of the drawing they don't like and think are not attractive enough or represent a certain aesthetic or art style they particularly enjoy. People even started fixing art from pro shippers as a way to quote-unquote deal with them for drawing inappropriate shapes of their favorite characters, or shipping them with minors then drawing them in inappropriate situations. But the most recent case of fixing art was an artist who made a TikTok of their cute little drawing, and people started leaving side comments making fun of the art style and even started fixing the drawing, claiming to have made it look better. I first found out about this situation from a YouTube video by Bree Draws, who's also my fellow colleague of motion picture yapping and has an amazing YouTube channel with lots of 10-minute yap sessions which you can listen to at your earliest inconvenience.
Like, bitch, calm down. It's just Instagram. Like, yes, I unfollowed you. Unfollow me back. Ooh.
Raccoons, who is an amazing artist with over 20,000 followers on their TikTok account and has also been posting fan art of different popular anime characters, posted their fan art of Hasune Miku drawn in their art style. The post went viral, racking over 1 million views and received almost 200,000 likes and 12,000 comments. But people were only commenting to make fun of the drawing, calling the art style ugly and mocking the artist for no reason at all. You did her dirty. I genuinely was in disgust when I saw this. That doesn't really look like Miku, but it's eyes. Apparently people on TikTok found the art style weird since they were not used to seeing features of the face drawn in such a playful and cute manner as this, and were instantly attacking the artist for not drawing Miku the way she's supposed to look, which on one hand is kinda ridiculous. Any artist can draw the character however they want since it's just fan art and not official art of the character. And aside from that, Miku is a voice box, so literally her interpretation is going to be different from artist to artist. Every time TikTok tries to gatekeep art styles, it only ends up splitting the community in two. Half of the people love the art style not just because it's unique and cute, but it also shows that not everyone has to draw people a particular way or adhere to a certain beauty standard or threshold for their characters, while the other half is hell-bent on forcing artists to make drawings that all look the same to a certain extent, complaining that an art style is ugly if the features are drawn slightly stylized and look different from other drawings they're used to seeing on TikTok. Some people started making videos where they were supposedly fixing Raccoon's drawing, changing the way the mouth and eyes look and removing the teeth from the drawing because apparently the drawing would have looked better if the teeth were not showing or if the mouth was closed. Others also complained about the eyes, telling the artist to draw them bigger and to draw the nose smaller, which is so disrespectful, especially because you can tell Raccoons already knows how to draw the features correctly but chooses to stylize them since that's what they enjoy with their art style. The people leaving comments like this and fixing drawings always think they're doing the artist a favor and giving them valid criticism because they think fixing the art is somehow going to make the artist automatically improve, which always ends up not happening at all because it's all just a cover for them to be mean and toxic to the artist. Artists who give actual criticism and try to help artists improve show valid anatomical errors or areas where the artist can improve the colors or rendering of the forms in the painting, instead of leaving vague comments on random drawings or stealing someone's work and claiming to fix it. How is that even constructive criticism? Coons made a video on their YouTube channel explaining the entire situation and also shared some advice for artists on the internet so they'll know what to do if this ever happens to them and for other artists who have had similar experiences. Every now and then I like to compare my old art and the art I'm currently making to see if I'm improving, but also to critique myself and find areas in my art where I could improve on and get better. But it's usually difficult organizing every single drawing and putting them side by side together, so I reached out to the heavens for help and the art gods blessed me with Millernote, the sponsor of today's video. Millernote helps you organize and visualize the planning stages of your creative projects on one platform so accessing them can be easier. Millernote allows you to collect and organize pictures, videos, notes and text and arrange them into different boards using any of their built-in templates that make it easy to start off your creative projects. You can also create several tasks for different things you want to study and tick them when you're done. For this instance, I'll start by creating a general board where I'll lay out a broad overview that covers everything concerning the project I'm about to work on. Next, I'll move on to place my references in a subboard and place my old art and current art in separate boards so I know where to find each of them. Then I create a new board where I place both drawings side by side so I can compare them and also make notes on things I want to improve on or change. I like to use Millernote's web clipper tool when gathering screenshots from other artists that draw in a style I admire and then save every image or screenshot I find useful in the board. This also works well when you're collaborating with other artists and working on the same project, so everyone has a good understanding of what the project is about and has access to the same references all at once since everything is properly organized in the same place. The kind folks at Millernote are giving free access with no time limit to everyone who signs up for a free account using the link in the description. All the links will be in the description, and a big thank you to Millernote for sponsoring this video. But fixing art is just a tiny piece of the many reasons why TikTok sucks for artists. A larger piece of the puzzle is bullying. Bullying is the most commonly talked about problem with the art community on TikTok. Almost every single situation that has artists calling each other out across a series of videos on TikTok has an underlying bit of bullying which spirals the entire situation out of control. At the slightest inconvenience, TikTok users eager to attack artists just because they don't like the way they draw immediately resort to bullying them for no reason, leaving little comments making fun of the artist's drawing or saying they should quit art and do something else. Sometimes the bullying gets so toxic and out of hand to the point where the artist they're bullying sadly leaves the platform or even changes the way they draw because of it. So many young aspiring artists eager to join TikTok and share their sweet art have sadly been bullied because their drawings were not supposedly up to the standards of TikTok or didn't fit the criteria a certain sect of the art community deemed as worthy. But sometimes bullying also happens when artists make fun of others with their drawings, which could result in a whole lot of misunderstanding comments between said artists and their peers, with an overwhelming amount of back and forth videos talking about the entire situation.
Sir, I am a Rorfian Zopgar.
So an artist on TikTok made a video where they told a joke to their friends in an art school, but apparently they couldn't understand it because they couldn't relate to it or something else I don't really want to mention because once you see the drawing, you can already tell what it is. In the drawing, the artist drew themselves as stylish and chic as possible and drew their friends as soy jack memes? According to the artist, they were just making a light-hearted joke and didn't expect it to be taken so seriously, but the art community immediately responded to the video, calling the artist out for drawing stereotypes of art students, insinuating they were just dogs and drawing them as fat and ugly. A lot of people had issues with the artist's depiction of their friends, especially since they just didn't like the fact that the artist drew their own persona looking cute, so some people started making videos calling the artist out and bullying the them for how they looked, instead of practically tackling the situation and making clear points as to why the artist was in the wrong and shouldn't have drawn their friends in that manner, even if it was just meant to be light-hearted humor. So many people started making TikTok videos about the situation, mocking the artist and turning the whole joke into a trend just to show how insensitive the artist was with their supposed humor. Another popular artist decided to chime in with their 2 cents into the conversation, bringing in much needed clarity and fresh air to the already messy dumpster fire that was going on in the art community with their thought-provoking interpretation of the situation. The video resonated with so many artists who found this version true to life and much more relatable, since it felt like a breath of fresh air and a safe space for every artist and art student regardless of their looks, race, body type, or gender. The artists also explained their take of the situation in the caption of their video, but trust TikTok as usual. Some people found it rather offensive and called the artist out for innocently trying to pacify an already agitated situation and annoying specific groups with the caption of their video, to the point where the artist was coerced into making an apology video by the original artist who started the situation and people who found the joke in the drawing inoffensive. Fromi has a really good video talking about the situation on their YouTube channel. Lynn also has a good video too, so you should watch those videos to hear what actual art students think about the supposed humor in the TikTok video. It will seem art and political opinions always somehow end up riling people up, and either way the negativity always falls back on the artist. A recent situation that also happened despite it not being on TikTok, it still shows how toxic the art community has gotten. Jens Claessens, who's a really amazing artist with insane portrait painting skills, painted a portrait of Kamala Harris and posted it on Instagram, and as you'd have guessed, the post immediately went viral. But when the comments started trooping in, it would seem the post had gone viral for the wrong reasons. That's a communist. This is awesome. I never thought I'd see artists support a conservative Cheeto that represents everything our greatest artists, icons, and innovators will be against. You drew Holocaust Harris. You have a talent way too good to be wasted on such a terrible subject. Ignoring the obvious talent versus skill argument in this context, comments like these kept trooping in, throwing large mango trees along with all the shade towards the artist, calling him names and saying he was trying to push an agenda and a hidden propaganda on his followers. Make it make sense. For cases like these, people need to learn to separate the art from the artist and try to keep an open mind towards the art instead of hating on the artist entirely. Whether you like the political candidates in the drawing or not, or if you support their views or stand against them, try to appreciate the drawing without having to bring your political opinions into the equation against the artist. Everyone is allowed to support whoever they want to support. Attacking them for their choice of art because it doesn't necessarily tally with your political views doesn't speak well of you in the slightest bit. According to Jens, every time he makes a drawing of popular celebrities, public figures, or politicians, he always gets hate in his comments from people who don't like the person in the drawing, which is very confusing because he's literally just an artist making a drawing. So sending him hate messages is just channeling your anger in the wrong direction, especially when you can't seem to keep it under control. But among all the hate and negative comments, Jens also has people cheering for him, praising his art and appreciating his incredible portrait painting skills. He also made another post on his Instagram where he explained what he does for a living and how he earns commissions as a portrait artist to the people leaving hate comments on his posts, telling them art shouldn't be political and stating he can draw whoever the F word that also means intercourse he wants. But most of the comments didn't quite agree with him, saying that art has always been political since the old masters and served as a means to impact culture and build a society since the dawn of time. While both the artists and commenters had fairly good arguments for their reasons, I think the artist was able to pass his point across. Separate the art from the artist. But in the aftermath of all this unnecessary drama, Jens lost some followers because of his drawing, but he still has people supporting him and accepting his work for what it is. So clearly, it's safe to assume the art community gets really toxic not just on TikTok, but on every other social media platform as well. But artists on TikTok are supposedly getting getting the short end of the already shortened stick and are having to deal with negativity and hate on TikTok just because they want to share their drawings. Sometimes these people claim to be giving valid constructive criticism to the artists, so they pretend it's all goodwilled and for the best interest of the artist when they leave their hateful and negative comments on their work disguised as constructive criticism. Artists who draw realistically and are suckers for hyperrealism in their art are not safe on TikTok because apparently drawing realism is ridiculous and makes no sense, according to an artist who shared his opinion on the hyperrealism art style.
I do not like plain realism. Like, what's the point of spending thousands of hours learning how to paint if you're just gonna paint the same apple that 30 other artists painted, and you're gonna paint it the same way that all 30 of those artists already painted it? And like, there's a lot of skill that goes into it, but it's just pretty boring. And now if this is just, this is like what you just like doing, it's just fun for you, that's no problem. But if you start complaining about why your art isn't selling, you gotta stop. You gotta stop complaining. You've already painted the same apple someone else painted. Artists get paid for their ideas. They get paid for how unique their stuff is, how interesting and creative it is. It's like going to the movie theater and watching a movie about someone's life. Like, you get a 30-minute commute, you get to watch for 30 minutes as they take their lunch break. It's just so boring. Like, I can do that today. I can experience that. Like, I can go get an apple, put it on a table, and experience that in real life. I can't experience like an apple shooting lasers riding a unicorn or something. I want art to give me something that I can't experience in real life.
While I'm not someone who likes to draw hyper-realistic drawings or spends their time trying to draw the tiny hairs and finer details on an eggplant, I can appreciate the artists who enjoy making super detailed drawings and are good at it. Drawing realistically takes a lot of time and an insane amount of patience if you intend to make a drawing that looks halfway decent and realistic. But of course, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and almost half of the comments on the TikTok video didn't agree with what the artist said, but they didn't let that dissuade them from drawing what they enjoy and find satisfaction from. The other half of the comments were in full support of the video, claiming realism in art held no meaning and was literally the same thing as taking a photograph. While both sides of the argument held valid points, it's obviously clear that everyone has an art style they enjoy, but that shouldn't make you undermine the efforts of other artists who draw using other techniques or art styles. Just like people who say drawing anime sucks because they draw realism, or learning animation is boring because they prefer painting. Everyone is allowed to enjoy what they want without bias or people being judgmental about it. The TikTok art community is just flooded with so much non-stop drama. Every day there's something new happening, and while the constant negativity discourages a lot of artists from sharing their work on TikTok, it still has a decent side to it, with people just making good art, sharing their work and having a positive impact on their audience, regardless of how large or small their account is. So it just takes a little bit of confidence and trusting your work to slowly build a community where you can have a positive impact as well. So don't let trolls or negative comments from people not doing what you're doing bother you, since they're only spending their time trying to discourage you from doing what you love. Well, it looks like you made it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, share the video with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. With all that being said, I'll see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Bye.